when I was watching it, I was getting the sense of, with the computer graphics, you could even further isolate a particular thing that you wanted people to focus on by demonstrating it in ways with the computer graphics.
Stability equals control and strength. As we lock our lower leg into the bike from the foot peg to the tank, we begin to create lower body stability.
Well, yeah, as Matt said, we tested a lot of things, and when it came right down to it, the only things we used the computer graphics for, we didn't just toss it in there like you toss in the bare-breasted woman in your film just so you could have an R rating. We used the computer graphics to show things clearly that really you can't see with the camera, and those angles you can't get with the camera. That underneath the bike angle, you can't get that, right? So, but in order to illustrate the points that we did, it had to be computer graphics. Otherwise, we would have had to do maybe claymation or something like that. But the computer graphics stuff was really good, and it's totally pro by top pros.
Yeah, which is, a fair amount of budget went into this film. Yes. In watching that,
fact,
being budding backyard filmmakers that we are at OTT, I sat there and realized you guys put significant and serious resources.
We lucked out. Actually, Matt pulled the thing together for sure. Turbo Films is were responsible for the actual production and pulling together the crew and so on. And we had a big breakthrough, and that was that everybody in Hollywood was threatening to strike. So there were really tons and tons of top people just hanging around with nothing to do. And Matt's got the resources, and so we pulled together top crews, crew members for this shoot. And a lot of those guys said they'd never seen that many shots done.
Yeah, I think they were. The discussion on set was this a record number of setups for a day that they'd ever. And for a lot of people, they were like, yeah, we never done this many setups in a day.
It's the guys who've been in the business for like 30 years.
Yeah.
They're like, we only get like 2 setups a day, and you guys were cranking them out.
Yeah, no, we were really cranking.
Bizarre.
Yeah, it was a 3-week solidly packed shoot schedule.
Didn't we get 121 scenes done in one day?
It was something
crazy.
Bizarre.
I forget
the exact details.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the effects, as I said to you before, the people we had work on those were top people in this town, and the great thing as well was that they're all motorcycle enthusiasts, racers, fathers of racers. So it was really great because Keith would say, okay, this is what we want in the shot, and they'd come back and they'd pretty much nail it first time because they knew exactly, they know how a bike works
and they have some idea of what you're talking about and what you're trying to get across. Someone who's never ridden a motorcycle and has no clue about counter steering seems to me would have a more challenging time at trying to illustrate that in a computer graphic than someone who knows exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's the extra reality helped enormously to make the film flow. There's a nice fabric to the film. I went up and down the emotional scale throughout the making of this thing. One day I would say, this is the worst piece of garbage I've ever seen in my life, and then Matt and I would go through it and we'd edit another, 4,000 hours or whatever we did, and then I go, this is great. This is so. It really shows it, So I just went bang, 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 bang like that. And now at this point, when it's done, I'm still on high and very, very pleased with the results. That it's such a team effort to put something like this together. It's just like racing, really. And if everybody knows what the goal is, and in this thing. The director really had very little understanding of motorcycles, but he was a fantastic director and cinematographer, chief. And once we got him on a motorcycle and we let him ride around a little bit, and he was, just quivering with joy after we let him ride around on a 150 or something like that, right? But he actually got some reality on it. And then once the crew and he understood that there were actual technical points that needed to be understood, and that there was essentially right ways and wrong ways of doing this stuff, and that once somebody actually got those things, that they could make some improvements in their riding and really just go on a sort of one of these adventures of unlimited improvement. Once I got that idea, then we started to get specific things very specifically, right? It wasn't just let's just shoot a big wide shot of this thing. It was, okay, we really need to get this part of it. So that came along with it. There was that education process for everybody to see what I needed, and what Matt knew was there too, because Matt has raced and he rides, and aside from his kids riding and racing as well, he has his own experience in that area. So it was essential to have that experience, that understanding.
One more aspect on the production side, you're editing it, and you're on your 450th day, and you're editing it again. And did you get to a point? I know I get to it sometimes in editing, right? You realize, wait, did we make that point well enough? I mean, should we bring in this point? You have to draw the line somewhere and say, this is the point we're going to teach, and we've shown enough shots. Did you run into that where you were having problems? Or were you just like, oh, this is good?
I do. You can always think of another way to do it. That's the bottom line. You get something, and I think this is probably a problem that filmmakers have worldwide, is that you shoot something in one way, and the moment you shoot it and you put it all together and you cut the section together, and you've got 5, 10, 15, 20 shots or whatever, out of the 1,400 that we have in the film, and you go, whoa, if it just been over here just that little bit, and then up 2 more feet, we would have seen this other thing, right? Well, okay, it wasn't in the script to begin with.
That's right.
Right. So you can always generate a new wish list, right? But what it's done for me is be able to see that other things could be shown, right? So, I'll wrangle Matt in for another project. I'll finish A Twist of the Wrist Volume 3, and we'll shoot that.
I mean, we spent a long time going over the footage, and I think we looked at everything from every possible angle, we could. And the thing about the script was that it was very precise, and our director said he'd never been he'd never been handed a script that detailed everything. Everything had a purpose. So pretty much we set out to shoot certain things, and we got those things, and there was a few fortuitous moments. Other things came up. They were like, oh wow, we got that. That was cool. Let's stick that in. You know what I mean? But
a lesser production crew would have gone for a lesser product, a lesser result than what my vision was. Right? And I was pretty nerdy, when I wrote the script, because I didn't really know how to write a script. Not really.
Right.
And the first script that I had, I thought that it was a script, and it wasn't even close. It was like a notebook sketch of what the film should be. So, there were several hundred hours that went into doing that thing. And I thought, well, okay, if I'm going to write this thing, I'm going to really write down exactly what I want. And I think that was one of the things that brought us through and really got the images that we were able to get. Whereas otherwise, it would have been wider shots, more general stuff. And if you could watch Valentino Rossi, you can watch Valentino Rossi, and if you could watch somebody go through a corner and say, oh cool, you see what he's doing right there? Well, you just do that and everything will be okay. Well, then everybody would be good at it, right? But that's not the way it is, and we all know that what you have to get something to hook into. You have to have some hook, some reality point that allows you to see where you are with it, see what the barriers are, and see exactly what you're going to have to get under control in order to make that thing work. And in the end, that's the only way it's going to be. It's the understanding, the rock bottom understanding, is the thing that paves the way for these things to come in, provided you didn't start racing when you were 4 years old, right? Like Rossi, Melandri, Caparossi, zillions of other, Jorge Lorenzo, all these guys, right, who got candy when they rolled the throttle on a little bit earlier. When they were like 4. That's one kind of training. We don't do that at the Superbike School.
No.
No.